President George H.W. Bush played a small part in Chattanooga's history. He was there for the Lookouts' first game at what is now AT&T Field. Taylor Stewart looks back on that day and other memories of the former commander-in-chief in the scenic city. Taylor.
Latricia, the announcer who narrated the president's baseball debut in Chattanooga, says he'll never forget that very first game and how the crowd welcomed number 41 to their hometown.
It was a new baseball season. It was the start of a new era.
April 1st, 2000, the first professional baseball game played in Chattanooga. Fans packed out Bell South Park, now AT&T Field. President George H.W. Bush threw the very first pitch.
So it was very befitting to have George H.W. here to throw out the first pitch. And of course, his wife, Barbara, was here as well.
Director of Broadcasting Larry Ward recalls sitting in that booth, looking down at the field, hearing the roar of the crowd.
I think the fans were probably as excited as anybody that day.
And watching President Bush greet the Baltimore Orioles and Cincinnati Reds.
He was out front, shaking the hands with the players.
Former White House Communication Director Tom Griscom had a 10-year-long political relationship with the late president. He remembers returning from a trip to negotiate the destruction of the Berlin Wall. He met then Vice President Bush on the tarmac.
Standing at the foot of the stairs was Vice President Bush and Mrs. Bush. And they had the biggest smile on their face. And they shook everybody's hands who came off that plane. And it said a lot about them.
He says they had their disagreements.
I come in and I say, Mr. Vice President, I understand you want to see me. He said, absolutely. He didn't offer me a chair to sit down, and I got the best blessing out that I've had, I think, probably from the first time, other than when my mother would get on me for doing something bad.
Griscom says the best thing about President H.W. Bush was he was the same person in public and in private, a man dedicated to public service. President H.W.'s visit in 2000 was his last time here and one of the last local opportunities Chattanoogans had to cherish the president before his death. Latricia.
Taylor, thank you. President Bush also made a stop in Chattanooga in September of '92. This was a quick stop during his re-election campaign. He gave a speech then at Level Field. Bush ended up losing the election to Bill Clinton. Our coverage of President Bush's funeral will continue at 5:18. We'll take you inside the National Cathedral and show you how they are preparing for tomorrow's special tribute to the former